guys, we're using the theme of gold medalists today, now that we're in day one of the Olympic Games hangover. We're going to miss it. We're truly going to miss it. We're going to talk about it a lot today here on the Runaround. This is Greg Jubb alongside Brad Jager and Ryan McGrath, and you're listening to ESPN 1300. The Runaround's brought to you by Halliburton Sports. If you're looking for the widest selection of running shoes and gear, check out Halliburton Sports online at halliburtonsports.com or visit their Baltimore showroom on Pulaski Highway. And check us out at runningmaryland.com, where you can get all the latest results, news, photos, and more of all the area's latest races. Or if you're interested in having your race organized by one of the area's premier event management companies, check us out at runningmaryland.com. Brad, Ryan, it's over. 2012, every 4 years, we get to see one of the coolest events in athletics.
I know, that rhythmic gymnastics just blows me away every
Brad
time.
jokes, I don't know if you're joking or not, but if you watch team rhythmic gymnastics, and I understand they're on a subjective scoring thing, it really is a cool thing to watch, and I can understand for pure entertainment value why it's included in the Olympics.
Along the same vein, synchronized swimming.
Synchronized swimming.
An amazing control of the athlete's body to do what they're doing, but the art side to it, the dancing, what's the word I'm looking for? The interpretive dance aspect to it with the costumes,
the music and the
and like, did you see one of the swimmers' cat was like a brain? Did you see that? I don't know what country that was.
I would just ask anybody listening right now: go in a swimming pool, hold your breath underwater, try and do a couple things for maybe 10 seconds, and see how quickly your body goes anaerobic. It's pretty incredible. I have a lot of respect for it. Of course, not my top choice for when I'm watching the Olympics, but it really is. They're explosive movements.
Cut them off
underwater.
Yeah, but I was watching West Coast Customs while you guys were watching rhythm gymnastics.
Well, anyway, we're here to talk about the track and field. I mean,
right.
That was honestly one of the coolest events. It's going to be something that's hard for me to cope with now that we won't be seeing such amazing track action. And really, you're going to hear a lot about Usain Bolt. You're going to hear a lot about Allison Felix and Sonia Richards-Ross. But what do I really think was the strongest performance at the Olympic Games? The 800 meters, the men's 800, by far.
It is probably the most unappreciated event that we saw during the games, and I'll say this from as a spectator who enjoys all the events, but really even the commentators. I just didn't get the sense that they really were conveying what this man was accomplishing while he was doing it. Just think about this for a second. He has no pace setter. He runs the first quarter in 49.28 seconds, which is a little bit slower than he's gone out on his previous world record attempts. But this is the Olympic Games final. And he's got a string of guys right behind him. They're all trying to keep pace because they know their only chance of beating him is to try and run with him from the gun. And he strings along these other guys all to PRs. Every single one of them ran a personal best, some unbelievable times. Under 143, 5 guys under 143.
And just understand that running 140, a minute and 40 seconds to run a half mile is extremely fast. I think anyone can appreciate that. And what you're saying about the announcers, you have Tom Hammond from NBC, who's really just a horse racing announcer, and you have Otto Bolden, who focuses on the sprints. When he does call the sprints, he does a great job. But they need someone in there who can really, really call these races and provide some real commentary. What I will say about Rudisha leading and not having a rabbit, we talked to Matt Scherer, the world's best in the business for rabbiting 800 meters. He's not in this race. This is the Olympics. It's not about running a time. It's for place. It's for king and country. It's for a gold medal. And when you take the lead like that, you're really taking a risk. I mean, because as much of a dominant athlete as David Rudisha is for the 800 meters, he's still running the risk that if he tires, he's breaking the win for everyone. People are drafting off him. But nonetheless, he broke the world record. First man under 141. He broke his own world record.
By a tenth of a second.
It's impressive. And really, I'd be excited to see what he runs after the Olympics. Will he ever be able to break 140? It's a scary thought. People have asked him.
Well, as you mentioned, Matt Scherer, who we interviewed on the Runaround here, he even mentioned after the race that it's possible that the rabbits have been holding him back, holding Rudisha back.
You'd think. But after seeing that, he went through the quarter in 49.2 seconds. He went through the 600 in 114.3, which is insanely fast. That by itself would rank as one of the fastest 600-meter times in world history.
But also know at this point that it's possible for some of these other guys that have run that fast now that they can get under 140. Nigel Amos is set the world junior record.
Yeah.
At 141.7?
Allegedly 18.
Okay, well,
Either-
but
nonetheless-
before, yeah.
Either way,
Nonetheless,
as a human being,
it's a
Yeah.
as a
141.
human being, it's a 141. In an event where, until this race, this one singular race, Rudisha was winning races by 2-3 seconds sometimes, and none of these guys, I mean, he just elevated this entire event. Look at a guy like Nick Simmons. Nick Simmons said after the race that he really, he finished fifth, but he ran 142.995 or something.
142.95.
He said he really redefined for himself his physical limitations. Now he knows. Now you have confidence.
Here's what he said. Quote, "I did everything possible. I brought a 142.9, which I never thought I'd humanly be able to do. Redefining my own limits, which is really what the sport is about. And competing at the highest level and redefining what you're capable of. I just feel really honored." And that's coming from a guy who's just bent on getting a medal. Can you be upset with the Americans? 4th and 5th. Dwayne Solomon, who came on after having a pretty marginal indoor season compared to his brethren in the 800. So running 142.8. Pretty close to Johnny Gray's American record of 142.60, and getting 4th against the strongest field that's ever been assembled in this event.
For the record, I'll toot my own horn. I'll say that for the last couple of weeks, watching him in some of the Diamond League and other meets, his form, his build, it's more akin to Rudisha's. He actually reminds me a little bit of David Krummenacher in the way he runs. He's very, very long. When he was getting tired, his strides were starting to chop a little bit. Rudisha is about the same height. His strides were more powerful. When he gets that piece of his race together, he's going to be the guy.
Absolutely, and I think he's got a long stride. He's very upright too, but he always manages to get himself in great position. Nick Simmons runs from the back, which is a dangerous method. You see Robbie Andrews do that sometimes. Sometimes he gets lost in the mix there and cannot come back in time when he's kicking and he's like in 7th place of 10. Dwayne Solomon is often in 3rd. He just keeps moving with the pack, and he's not taking the lead, so he's not risking that much energy. I just think he has very good tactics.
If you want to join in with this conversation, call us at 410-481-1300, and maybe we'll talk to you.
And not only will we talk to you, the first person to call in and actually have an intelligent comment about what they thought was the best event in Olympic track and field, we'll give you a $25 gift certificate to Halliburton Sports. Check them out at halliburtonsports.com. So please give us a call, 410-481-1300. Give us your thoughts on what you thought was the best event in Olympic track and field at the London Games this year, like I said. And we'll surprise you with a $25 gift certificate to Halliburton Sports. In the meantime, though, you can't really talk about the Olympics without mentioning Usain Bolt. He really is the greatest sprinter of all time. Anybody disagree here?
I would actually disagree, Greg. I would disagree that Usain Bolt is the greatest sprinter of all time. I would say he's the fastest sprinter of all time, hands down. But, I think you're looking at, just a different time. None of us were there. Maybe Brad was in the 30s when Jesse Owens was doing his thing, and a guy like Carl Lewis. And I think the difference here is you're talking about guys that competed across multiple events. Now there are event specialists, so it is a lot harder. Bolt could probably do long jump, but he might not be the most competitive. So it's tough. He's dominant, and the way he ran this year.
Yeah, 9.63, the second fastest 100-meter time. His second fastest time.
Olympic record. He
has the world record. He's repeated in the 200 here in 19.322, to tie what was originally Michael Johnson's world record.
Letting up, and his 19.30 Olympic record, had he just pushed a little bit through the line, I'm sure he would have gotten that too. So, that's just, you're arguing inches at that point. But really, the race that for me was the most impressive had to have been the 4x100 meter relay. You've got an amazing race.
Well, we'll get to that in a second. We're going to talk to Mike from Baltimore here. He's got something to say about the Olympics. Mike, what did you think of the Olympic Games?
I loved them. I'm sad that they're over.
Yeah, it's tough. I don't know if you heard us earlier, but our friend Ryan McGrath here coined the term the day one of the Olympic hangover. Just weeks of action, and now we're in withdrawal because of it. What do you think was the best event out there?
To be honest, I thought the best event was the decathlon. I was blown away by both those guys, Eaton and Hardy. Especially Eaton. The guy took over. He took over half of the events, and it was just ridiculous what that guy did.
Well, Mike, we were just talking about it before the show, and I was actually more impressed
with Trey Hardy. Trey Hardy, of course, had Tommy John surgery just 10 months prior. Has to really will himself to make it through trials, and the pain that he was going through throwing the javelin. He gets to Olympic Games and realizing that he's going up against his teammate and world record holder, he really gave it a go. He did not let up an inch, and you could see by the end. I mean, he was hurting, but you're right. Decathlon was a great event, and I wish they had highlighted a little bit more of it than just doing their very quick recaps.
Yeah, it's a shame because these guys, I really believe this. Yes, I know who Michael Jordan is. Yes, I know who Pele is. Yes, I know who Muhammad Ali is. But Ashton Eaton, to me, is the greatest athlete of all time. Because when you break the world decathlon record, you show such a range of skills, whether it's speed, power, agility, whatever. Ashton Eaton has it. And really, Mike, I don't know if you agree, but when Ashton Eaton was going through the motions, he was doing just that, going through the motions. He was running, just posting times to post them. He wasn't going for personal best because he wanted to be conservative. He really could have blown out another 9,000 plus point.
Could you imagine if he can really throw those implements? The shot, the javelin, and the disc, he was all near the bottom on all three of those things, if not on the bottom. If he had some sort of oomph in there, he would have blown that record away. And he obviously took it easy on the 1,500, didn't give a full effort there.
He looked pretty tired. I don't know how easy that was for him because you could see it in his form, the head motion.
Yeah, but after running a 4:14 at trials, you still thought, what was it, 4:33 he ran?
4:33.
Yeah.
Well, Mike, what did you think his strongest performance was?
I think it's just the event as a whole, coming out there and just nailing every event like he did. You guys hit the nail on the head by saying that they just didn't highlight this enough. And I don't know if it's because the event takes place kind of late in the Olympics and people are getting a little burnt out from it or what. I know there's some of the other events like diving and gymnastics are big with the audience out there. But I don't know. I'm just surprised. To me, that was like the most dominating performance I think that I've seen in the Olympics. And like you said, he was holding out a little bit. He didn't even have to go that hard in the 1,500.
That was certainly my interpretation of it. And you know what? He's got a gold medal to his name and the world record all within months of each other. And better yet, he's bringing it back home to good old USA. So I'll take that.
Yeah, good stuff.
Anyway, Mike, stay on the line. Our producer's going to talk to you, get your information from us. We'll send you the gift certificate to Hollybird Sports.
And everybody else, stay on the line, too. We'll talk to you after the break.
Yes. And before we do that, we have Matt from Havre de Grace talking about the Olympics right now. Matt, what did you think was the best event from this year's Olympics?
By far, hands down, David Rudisha. I know you mentioned it earlier. That 600 split, I was like, that can't be correct. This guy, I thought he was going to break 140. I really actually thought that because at 114.6, I'm like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah, he was actually 114.3. Insane.
Oh, even better. And then in addition to that, boat performance and also the Jamaican men team with Blake and Bolt, and what Blake did to Tyson Gay in the 4x1, he whipped by him like he was a nobody. Yeah. I was like,
I didn't understand why Gay was running the curve. Actually, because that was the whole reason he wasn't running the 200. For me, I would not have put Bailey on anchor. I would have had Gatlin there. I would have had Gay on second, and
Bailey's the turn. But you know what? It also as what things that we probably don't know, we're not privy of. Bailey may not be a guy that can run a curve because not everybody can run a curve.
Well, he's big. He's a huge guy, so I think his best bet is is just not going to be the centrifugal force of whipping his body around. But it's not like Bolt has any easier time.
Yeah. When Ryan brings out the physics, it's serious.
And the shocking performance, this disappointing part about it, the men's 400. Angelo Taylor on ankle leg, and then the guy from Florida ran a 43.5 on the third. And now, I couldn't believe it. It was the first time no American has ever. Actually, I could believe it, and I'm gonna tell you the reason why. No American has ever made the final in the 400. I go to Penn Relays every year, and then I notice all the big major schools, the Caribbean, they are dominated by Caribbean runners. And year after year for the past 15, 20 years. And so the interest of the American kids are like the 6'3", 6'2" kid that could possibly run a 45 point, like the Robert Griffith who won NCAAs as a freshman. They they see the big sports and the big money with football and basketball. They're turning away from it. But it was just really shocking not to see an American run in the 400 final.
Right, and it's actually been since 1920 since we haven't had an American on the podium for the 400, believe it or not.
Yeah, it was like, wow. I mean, this goes back from Lee Evans and that I can remember and watch it, and Butch Reynolds and Michael Johnson and all these other stars in the back. I was like, no American in the 400 final is ridiculous.
And guess who's there? And guess who's there coaching? Coach Andrew Valmon from the University of Maryland. He was on the Olympic team and an Olympic gold medalist himself, and he had to watch it. He had to watch it go down. So anyway, Matt, thanks for calling in. We appreciate your input.
Thank you.
All right. And when we come back, we'll be talking more about the Olympics. We will be talking about this all day. So please don't miss it. The Runaround, ESPN 1300.